Hello everybody, and welcome to the brief overview of the game I'm currently developing called Kronocell. So, what's this game all about? Kronocell is a two-player tactical board game in which two opposing armies clash and fight for the battlefield dominance. The object of the game is to annihilate all opponents' units, or capture 2 out of 3 control points represented as dots on the battlefield. Each player controls 5 units, each with their own abilities, using the action and reaction mechanic. We will discuss these mechanics later on in this video. But first, let's have a look at the playboard. The playboard is divided into 3 main sections. In the middle, we have the battlefield, which is the large hexagon, comprised out of 61 cells. Below the battlefield, we have the unit panel. It has 5 icons, as you can see, and each represents 1 unit of your army. On the bottom of the board, we have the turn counter, which is used to keep track of turns and general progress of the game. We will see more about this later on in the video. Now that you know what Kronocell is and what are the goals of the game, let's have a look at your units or your army. These are your forces. Each of the players has 5 units. As you can see, each one of them is different. They are all color-coded and each one has special abilities and roles during combat. So, the first one is a scout. She is the fastest unit in the game and your primary melee damage dealer. The scout is also generally used for capturing control points. And the second one is the guard. The guard is your primary defense unit, which can withstand a lot of attacks due to his strong armor and large hit point pool. Next we have the rifleman, which is a medium speed unit and a range attacker. He can cover multiple cells if positioned right, so he can cover the triangles like this or like this. And finally, we have the tank, which is a support unit with a long range attacks and cover fire. Now, let's have a look at the movement of the units as well as the turns. As I mentioned before, each of your soldiers is different. The first main difference is the movement speed. For instance, the guard can move 2 cells each turn, while the scout can move 4. So, you move it 1, 2. The scout, as I said, can move 4 cells each turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. Note that you don't have to move in a straight line. You can move any way you want. So you can move 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, essentially ending up at the starting cell. Once you have moved the unit, you have finished your turn. So let's see the way the turns are handled in Kronocell. Here we have the turn markers. Each player has it. So once you have moved your unit, 1, 2, you move the marker 1 space to the right, and this concludes your move. Now it's your opponent's turn, and he can do 1, 2, 3, 4, and he finished his turn. Then you go 1, 2, and you finish. Now that we have a basic understanding of units and turns, let's get to the meat of Kronocell, which is combat. Every soldier you control has 4 abilities which are represented as action cards. Here we have the guard action card set. As you can see, they are all unique and each one has a different purpose. Let's have a look at the uppercut card. In order for the card to have any effect, we have to take a look at its range value. Notice the icon in the lower left corner, it says 1. What this means is that this ability can be used on units 1 cell away. In this case, the scout is too far away for this action to have any effect, so let's cheat a bit and move the guard a bit closer. Now we are in range and we can smack that scout with full force. I don't know if you can see the text on the card, but it says pushes enemy 1 cell dealing 2 damage. So The scout is pushed back one cell and she loses 2 hit points. What and where are the hit points, you might ask? Well, let's turn on the unit panel and see what we have there. As you can see, each unit has a portrait icon and a hit point counter. The guard has 12 points, the scout has 4, the rifleman 5 and the tank has 6. We've hit the scout for 2 damage and she is now down to 2. Once the health counter reaches 0, move the counter over the portrait, indicating that the unit is out of play, like this. In the next section, we'll take a closer look at the action-reaction mechanic. Okay, in the last turn, we've hit the scout with the uppercut. We've pushed the scout one cell and we've dealt 2 damage. We also moved the turn marker 1 space and we concluded our turn. Now it's the opponent's turn. Like the guard, the scout also has a set of cards. Here they are. Now we come to the main mechanic of the game, which is action and reaction. Your opponent chooses a card and places it face down on the table. We'll keep the cards revealed for this video. Since he used the card, you are allowed to also play a card, essentially reacting to his attack. Choose a card to react with and place it face down on the table. We'll use shield block. First, your opponent shows the card. He played run and stab, which says move up to 3 cells and stab target for 1 damage. So, he moves his scout 3 spaces and tries to stab at your guard. 1, 2, 3. Now, you show your card. We have a shield block and we've successfully blocked the attack. How did we do that? Once both cards are turned, the situation is resolved by comparing the execution values, which are shown in the upper left corner of every card. Shield block has 2, while run and stab has 3, which means that it takes less time for the shield block to execute than run and stab. Therefore, shield block wins and the guard doesn't lose any health. Now that the cards have been played, you might be wondering what happens to them. Are they moved into a discard pile or do you return them back into your hand? Well, in order to use the card again, you will have to wait a certain number of turns. If you look in the upper right corner of each card, you will see another number. This is a cooldown value, the number of turns you have to wait. Take the cooldown value, in this case 2, and add it to the current turn. Place the card on the correct turn segment. Once the turn marker passes the card, you can take it back and put it into your hand. One last thing you need to know about the rules is the capturing of a control point. To start the capture, you need to have one of your units on the cell with a dot. That unit must remain on the point for 1 whole turn in order to win it. After finishing your turn, moving your marker, place the cap marker on the turn counter. Once the turn marker passes the cap marker, you have won this capture point. Now, if the unit loses health during the process, the cap marker is moved 1 space to the right. If the unit is stunned or moved away from this cell or capture point, capturing immediately stops. I hope you enjoyed this video and that it made you interested in Kronocell. If you want to find out more, check out the description for links. Enjoy the game. Bye.